Welcome to Gulfstream Park West. Welcome to Gulfstream Park West Handicapping Show. Ron Nicoletti along with Pete ILO. And Pete, someone or somebody's got these Rainbow Six reeled in. They hit it 3 times this past week.
Yeah, over 20,000 yesterday afternoon in a sequence that wasn't exactly overly tricky. There were a couple horses that surprised, including Morichal, who knocked a lot of people out. But other than that, it was a pretty formful sequence. The early pick 5 yesterday, good for close to 300. I wish I had played my own ticket.
That's right. His ticket hit, the early pick 5 hit yesterday. And you know what was amazing? The 4 logical horses in the last race were the 4 horses alive in that Rainbow Six. So they are really zeroing in on that bet. It's a lot of fun. It'll be starting anew here in race number 5 this afternoon because we've got a 10-race card. And we've got big news about the Super High 5, which we'll tell you about in a minute. But tomorrow, Pete, we got the Breeders' Cup Saturday, but you got to go over to Gulfstream Park if you want to watch and wager on it.
Yeah, if you're watching at Gulfstream Park, just ignore this message. This is for the fans who are joining us locally. You will not be able to watch, wager, or win on any of the Breeders' Cup action at Gulfstream West unless you're using.
Yeah, but they got lots of good stuff going on across town tomorrow. You could even buy if you buy a program, you get a really nice hat. So it's a lot of fun over there. Besides being able to bet on some really exciting races. Now we'll go through our wagering menu we're offering you here this afternoon. We're going to start it off with the early pick 5, and as we just mentioned, Pete hit his yesterday, so when he shows you his ticket in just a bit, make sure you pay attention to it. As I was mentioned, the Super High 5 today, Pete, starts in race number 3. Over $10,000. You need 7 or more runners in the field. So when this, usually when we have this kind of carryover, boy, they send it in.
Yeah, and the third race today is a race that I think you can probably hit this Super High 5. There are some horses that appear to have no chance to hit the top 5, and then you just have to have the other ones in the right order.
And then, as I mentioned, the Rainbow Six will start in race number 5, and they got it again as we were talking about at the top of the show. And then we'll end the day with our final pick 5 of the afternoon, and the beauty of that, the 50-cent wager, and see if you can bring that one down. That is what we have to offer you betting-wise this afternoon. Now let's go right to our first race. 5 furlongs on the turf. Claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 3 in life, or a race since June 4th. $16,000. A condition that's set up for somebody in here. If you could find it, real good. Scratch the 2. Contractor Jack. And now your ticket.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take a similar strategy that I did yesterday. I'm going to go top heavy and try to get some price horses early on. There's a couple of solid singles in today's sequence, including in race number 2, the number 1 Cap'n, or L Deal, should be Lone Speed from the rail. The real single is race number 4, the 6 Ranger in Paradise. Frankly speaking, he'll have to beat himself. I'm 5 deep in the third race. That's a race where I think you can hit that Super High 5, but just which one of those 5 will win it. And then in race number 5, I'm 3 deep. I'll try to beat the favorite in there. I'll go with 2 horses that have been off forever, and number 4, Two-Step Floor, making his first start over the local sod.
Yeah, and a really affordable ticket of only $30, so that's pretty good. Let's go into this first race. I went with the number 4, Pete, in here, and currently up there very early in the wagering at, I think, 5-2. That's cap in hand, dropping to the 16 level, turning back to 5/8 of a mile, finishing 4th behind a really solid next out, couple of solid next out winners. One of the horses I know you tipped me on, and that was Charlie Mops, and Blue Thunder was a 25 condition claimer going a mile back at Gulfstream Park on June 23rd. There's no such horse in here. Herman Walensky is the trainer. He's got Jesus Reyes handling this return to action this afternoon.
The only problem I had with this horse, and I used him on the pick 5 just because of that Charlie Mops running line, is this has to be a prep, doesn't it? I mean, he was in the other day about 2 weeks ago in a race that came off the grass going long. Now all of a sudden, maybe they can't get him in the spot they want to get him in. They have to try 5/8 and leg him up. To me, like, this has to be a prep. He's not a 5 furlong horse.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think he's going to run well in here, because I'm gauging on the level of competition in here. I think he's going to sit off the pace this afternoon. You did go with Morning Brew, who's stepping up the competition, but he's not really stepping up the competition in my estimation.
No, he's not at all. I actually think he's probably dropping in class because this is a dual condition race. Right. Non-winners are 3 or non-winners since June. He's eligible for the non-winners since June race. He is a 7-time winner. However, he's been burning a lot of money lately. He's been the beaten favorite in each of his last 3 races. He appears to be headed in the wrong direction. That's the problem. The good news is that Edgard Zayas will have the return call on him and he's got some good work on this horse.
Well, I knew you'd have the number 6 Pioneer, Pete, because this is a pioneer in our game right here sitting next to me. He's making his first start. You believe that, you'll believe anything. First start since a couple of really solid sprints at the distance in which he followed a 10,002 lifetime score. Second place finish at the $16,000 level. Always like the work that Mickey Kroger does. Luca Panici handling a return. That's a 10-week freshening. But the horses run well, and she seems to be a 5-furlong specialist. I'm talking about the trainer, Mickey Kroger. Seems to be a 5-furlong specialist.
I can think of at least 3, Gracious Humor, Texas Rustler, and Pioneer Pete, that would all fit that bill. Pioneer Pete is just a different racehorse since he came off the long layoff 3 starts ago. I think he fits pretty well in here. He has enough tactical speed to lay close. There isn't a lot of speed in here, which is good news if you like the number 3 Run for the Woods. He's the one to catch and beat in this race, especially with the scratch of Contractor Jack. He'll take some money. He's 5-1 currently. I wouldn't expect that you'll get 5-1. I think you'll actually get a better price than that with the Bug Rider Name to Ride. He's taking a substantial class drop. Came out of a very tough race.
Yeah, he was in 38-1 last time out, but to put a line through that. And as you mentioned, the scratch of Contractor Jack should help him today. So let's go to race number 2. And one of the horses that you singled on your ticket, the number 1, El Deal. And El Deal certainly the logical one to beat in here. Pete, what I want to do is go back and show you his last performance actually on August 27th, and it was in the Groomstick. And we're going to pick up El Deal, who was the 3 horse that afternoon at the top of the stretch. And when we pick him up at the top of the stretch, what you got to know about the other part of the race, he's in a duel with the ultra-fast Mr. Baker. They go to half in 44-87. He puts Mr. Baker away, but then he gets nailed in the wire by, you'll see coming, Your Dreams of Mine. Safe second. That was going 7/8 of a mile. Turning back to 3/4 of a mile. Mr. Baker come back, almost broke the track record here. So this was a fast horse, and I thought this horse ran exceptionally well. And is that your reason for singling?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of things to make you think that El Deal will be better today than he was last time, and he doesn't need to be to win this race. It was his first start in South Florida. It was his first start off a bit of a freshening, and it was 7/8. He doesn't want to go 7/8. He might have needed it to a certain degree, and he'd never been over the surface at Gulfstream Park. This is a new surface for him, but he has the inside draw and a field that has absolutely no speed in it. The jockey on Springmire's got a decision to make. How close can he stay to El Deal without taking too much of his punch away?
Yeah, he wheeled back at the same level of the distance. He finished second to the horse we were just talking about, the Speedball Mr. Baker, in that race that I was also alluding to, that they won a nifty 109 flat. John Vincent is the trainer. Luca Panici rode him to victory 2 starts back. If El Deal doesn't get the job done today with the speed, this is the horse that's going to be sitting there. We're ready to pick up the pieces.
I think so. I don't really have much else to say.
Yeah, and Dreaming of Gold, turning back to a sprint on the main after rallying to defeat allowance runners. That was going a mile on the turf. He's a $220,000 gelded son of Unbridled Song. Has run well in the past. He cruised down his past performances when making similar surface switches. So it's all about El Deal in there. If they can catch him when he goes to the front. If you could run with Mr. Baker, you can run, especially if you got no one challenging you.
And yet you don't pick him on top. Thank you.
Well, I just thought that, well, we'll tell you. I'm not a chalky picker, so that's why. Race 3 this afternoon. I know I got this reputation, but it's unfounded. Race 3, number 5 furlongs on the turf. Claimers, fillies and mares 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life, $8,000. Scratch the 1 in here, Don's Girl. And you mentioned it. This is where that a super high 5 starts with, a big carryover, 10,000. I'm always amazed at watching the board when we have a carryover in this, when it's like 10,000 or more. They just send it in. So we'll see how this race goes. What'd you do with Princess Dom on top?
Yeah, Princess Dom, me, and all the other wise guys picked this horse on top. She ran well last time out. She should have won, though, I think. I mean, she had all the momentum down the center of the course and couldn't hook Star Miley, who sprung a big upset. She's back in short rest for Antonio Sano. Roberto Alvarado Jr. has the return call. I think she gets the best trip in here. I see speed from the 5, 6, and 7 gates. That's good news for Princess Dom.
Yeah, you're right about that, because she really sat behind those slow fractions last time out of 22-4 and 47-1, come within ahead. Maybe the pace hurt her from getting that job done just because it was such a dawdling early pace that day.
Maybe, but she still, if you watch that race past the 16th hole, she's got all the momentum, and the horse in front is not supposed to stay there, but she did.
Well, we're in agreement sort of with our top three in here. I went with the 8 and second, First Dixie dropping a notch after rallying to finish third in front of a pair of next out winners. That was a 10-2 lifetime claimer here last time out. She should get more than enough speed in here. I think there's some speed in here, and she might be the one that stalks and closes and grabs a share in here. Princess Dom on top of my ticket, but I'm not leaving First Dixie off.
Neither am I. I went 5 deep in this race in the pick 5. I didn't have a strong opinion in this race, other than to say that I didn't think there was any huge standouts in here. Number 4, Talitha Koom, is only 1 for 24, but she went favored last time on the main track. Don't hold that against her. Focus on the race 2 and 3 back. She's running with First Dixie, and she got beat a neck 3 back behind Star Miley, who came back to win. Logically speaking, that means she'll stack up pretty well against Princess Dom as well. She'll be overlooked in the wagering under apprentice Carlos Hernandez.
I like a horse that's 15-1 to put on your ticket, and that's the 7 Dolce Surprise. Can turn out to be the controlling speed in this race if she can recapture that form she displayed leading every step of the way to break her maiden back on September 2nd. If she can get out there, I don't see any great horses in there that can stop her. Antonio Sano, Jorge Ruiz, he's been riding really well. Antonio Sano, our leading rider. Here's a horse that's a big price. Maybe, you do not leave this horse off your pick 5 ticket. Your super high 5 ticket.
Well, I think that that means that you have to spend a little bit of money, because we just officially, in some way or another, talked about 6 of the 7 in here. Gillette Q's the only one running, and I don't think has
that's the winner. That's what usually happens here. Let's go to race number 4. 7 furlongs, claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life for 3-year-olds. 30,000 down to 25,000. Jockey change on the 5. Make the rider John Cruz. Pedro Monterrey Jr. off his mounts this afternoon. So John Cruz will ride the number 5 horse in here. And I'm going to agree with you here with the single of Ranger in Paradise.
How do you beat him? That's one of the first fundamentals of handicapping races. Look who the favorite is and try to figure out how do you beat him. Well, I did that, and I couldn't find any reason for him to get beat. He went 44 and change last time out, was hooked, got passed by a horse who he had been racing against routinely in Express Jet, who was in very good form. He's the controlling speed in here. He's the fastest horse in here. He's coming from good connections with a good jockey. He's perfectly spotted from a form cycle standpoint. What chinks in the armor are there?
Can I add one other thing? He's the only 3-time winner in the field. So just add to that. So I'm in agreement with you. As I mentioned, the one Giant Ink is cutting back to this 7 furlong distance. After posting its 2nd consecutive victory, he crushed a field of 16 2-lifetime claimers going a 1-turn mile over at Gulfstream back on August 19th. Victor Barboza Jr., Lionel Reyes in there.
I suppose I could answer my own question. The chink in the armor of Ranger in Paradise is he's never been 7/8, but from a tactical standpoint, I don't think it'll bother him too much because he's not going to have to go as fast as he's been going up front. Giant Tinka does stand to be the horse to beat him. He's a completely different racehorse since moving into the Barboza Jr. barn. The rail is no bargain. What the rider does early will likely determine how he finishes late.
Yeah, I went with the 4-horse spotter Carl in third just because of his current form. He's stepping up the competition. He notched his 2nd consecutive score. He defeated 12-5 2-lifetime claimers, going 3/4 of a mile last time out. On that form, just somewhere to put him on the ticket, that he can be in the exact trifecta, superfecta, even though he's stepping up the competition.
Well, the horse that's taking a drop in competition, and it doesn't look like it on paper, is number 5, King Ronto. So you mentioned does have that rider change.
Right.
Does he win? Probably not. Does he make the board at a nice price? I think he does.
Well, that is how we see race number 4. And with that said, we'll take a break. And when we come back for race number 5, we'll show you my Rainbow 6 ticket. And, boy, someone's really, or some people are really zeroing in on this Rainbow 6.
Next January, 12 horses, $1 million buy-in for a $12 million purse. It is the world's richest race. It is the Pegasus World Cup.
welcome back to Gulfstream Park West. It's Ron, it's Pete, and the race number 5 is a 5-furlong turf claimer, fillies and mares 3 and up, non-winners of 3 in life, or race since May 4th. So a couple of conditions there for you. 16,000 is the tag, no scratches, jockey changes. Here's my Rainbow 6 ticket in here, and I'll show you what I came up with. I think $38.40. And, you know, I went a little deep in here, 2 deep, 3, 2, 4, 4. And then the last race, I singled the number 1 horse today, and I thought that was the logical horse in the last race. Variety of colors from the Timmy Hill barn, and that's how I'm seeing it. So I went, like you say, top heavy, and see if I can get that far, and then have the horse that I think is the one to beat at 2-1 in the morning line to win the nightcap.
That's a good strategy. I think the horse in the last will be a massive underlay, but there's probably not any other singleable horses in the sequence.
No, I mean, that's the way I saw it. I wanted to keep it affordable because we're starting anew this afternoon, so I only went too deep in here. But I went with the one Lady Master. I want to see how you came up with your selections in this race.
Yeah, well, we just don't agree in here. There's nothing wrong with that. The number 1 Lady Master is likely the reason why there's a time-restricted condition on this race. Non-winner since May 4th, to be exact. Well, she won on April 28th.
Wow.
So trainer Fernando Abreu certainly has a good spot for her. Now, she hasn't raced since July, but shouldn't be a concern because a lot of horses in here are off layoffs. Some of them off over a year, some of them off 6 months, and some of them off just over the summer. Let's take a look at 2 horses that have both not raced since the what would we call it, the spring-winter season. The number 3, April Rose, and the number 5, Some Roar. They're coming out of the same race. We'll take a look at it now. Some Roar's off the top of the turn, holding on to a narrow lead. This is back in February at the Champions meeting. Javier Castellano and Some Roar will turn away all challenges, including a challenge from April Rose under Paco Lopez, or actually under Joel Rosario that day, who's going to end up getting second. And that's April Rose on the outside of Some Roar. She has every opportunity to get by and just cannot do it. Some Roar extra game. Both of those horses ran well in that particular race. April Rose would come back after that and have trouble while favored under Paco Lopez. She hasn't been seen since March. Some Roar hasn't been seen since that win. But form-wise, they both look like they fit pretty good in here. The question is, are they ready? You say no.
Well, I put them on the ticket for all the reasons you mentioned, but I did go with the one Lady Master now in the Fernando Abreu barn, the daughter of Into Mischief. Drops into this condition claiming level and departs from the rail. It first starts in coming winning 3/4, but this horse hasn't run since July 22nd. So, you know, MSCL Jaramillo will be in the saddle. So, you know, we were doing a lot of guessing in this race.
Well, I think that you have to do a lot of guessing in this race because there's certainly nothing to hang your hat on. A horse that's taking a drop-in class is your second play, number 8, Zero Out. Gets a rider switch to jockey Andre Ramgeet for Aubrey Mirage. Has speed, has an outside draw, and has recency edges over a lot of these contenders.
Yeah, and second time blinkers this afternoon. I did use Some Roar on my ticket, and I did use the number 3, April Rose, on my ticket, just not on top of the tickets.
Well, how about the 4, Two-Step Floor? Two-Step Floor, I have a theory on this horse for Avo Racing and trainer Ralph Zadie. They took this horse at Saratoga 2 races back. If you look at her most recent 4 races, they're bad. They're really bad. In fact, they're the 4 worst races she's run in quite some time. My theory on that is quite simple. She's somewhat of a synthetic track specialist. She was 8 for 9 over in the top 3 over the synthetic race course out in Northern California at Golden Gate Fields. Well, they don't have any synthetic tracks anywhere near here, but turf a lot of times translates when you like the synthetic.
Good angle there, boy. You really had to work on that one, and that one is, what, 9-2 on the board. So we'll see that runs in wide open affair. We talked about a lot of horses in this race. I'm still going to go with the 1 in there, and sounds like we could have had a bet there.
Yeah, we could have, but we're not going to.
Okay. Race number 6 this afternoon. 6 furlongs, maiden claimers, fillies and mares, 3 and up. $10,000. Jockey change on number 3. Make the rider Jose A. Garcia. And Pete, you went with the number 4 in here, and that is You're My Destiny.
I went with first-timers. We talked about a 2-year-old race yesterday. I told you I didn't think any of the first-time or any of the horses who've raced could win. I was right. That race ran first-time starter 1-2-4, I think. This race, same story. I think that there's some horses in here that'll likely hit the board, including Little Quiet, who continues to just kind of plod along and grind out checks. I'm finally off her bandwagon. I've been on her bandwagon all summer. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm not going there anymore. I'll go to the first-time starter in number 4, You're My Destiny. She's been working like a horse who needs to debut for 10,000, but she comes for connections that are a little bit more adept at winning at this level. We have 2 good trainers in here, Dave Fawkes and Ralph Nix, but they don't debut horses on the bottom very much, and the reason for that is they usually have much better stock. So there's a little bit of a rub, if you will, to the 3 and 6, so I went with the 4 on top, even though I like fresh faces.
Well, you segued into the number 6, mine again perfectly for Ralph Nix, the first-time starter. I want to show you a stat on a horse over the last 5 years. First-time starters, 3-year-olds and upward on the dirt, 9 for 52, 17%. With 2-year-olds, he would be up by 35%, only 38% in the money, and $1.69 ROI. So
and I'm sure that of that 52 stat, there's probably only 2 that debuted on the bottom of the maiden rank.
Yeah, I mean, I put in maiden claimers, so it's not an angle that he does. The point we're trying to make is not what he normally does, so that's why what you said is pretty sharp. But number 5, Little Quiet, stretching out to 3/4 of a mile again, hitting the board for the 4th time in 5th races when she rallied to finish 3rd, going 5.5. You don't think this is the day. You've given up on her. I got her on top. Mark Paisley, Edgar Zayas. It's a daughter of Flashy Bull.
Well, what she is not is flashy. She grinds it out. She doesn't have much of a turn of foot. So if she lands in the right spot, she can certainly win. She's been landing in spots where she's had opportunities to go get the leaders. She's been herself going near the lead, but her last 2 times out, she lost to runaway speed horses in Sky Cotton and I'm a Tornado. I think she absolutely is a must-use if you're an exacta try or super player, but if you're a multi-leg guy like me, I'd pass.
I think you got to use the 12 somewhere on your ticket, Southern Touch, hoping to find just a little more for the stretch drive after rallying to finish 3rd when turning back from a mile to this 6-furlong distance. Got to deal with that outside post, but here's a horse, for your trifecta, superfecta wagers that I think you got to use on the ticket. I think it's 5-1 on the morning line. Jonathan Gonzalez.
I know. You jinxed me yesterday when you said I didn't pick him and he won easy. How about my must-use at a nice price? Number 8, Gone West Express, adds the blinkers for Gary Jackson. 2nd start of the career, showed good-looking energy and deep stretch of that last race, whilst beating over half of the field in that particular race and closing ground behind Little Quiet and Southern Touch. There's not much between them. I like Gone West Express at a number in the multi-legs.
Well, the battle continues here in race number 7, 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Claimers, 2-year-olds, $25,000. Scratch the main, track only. Number 9, Tom Liz. I went with this. We got our, you got the logical one on top. I'm going to tell you why I flip-flopped him here. I went with Cousin Tino, who's been knocking on the door at this as the favorite in both career starts at this level. Gets the call, I think, today to shed that maiden tag. Larry Pilati, Eddie Castro. I just thought those 2 performances, the 3rd start was going to be the one for this. And I wrote in my analysis, the biggest challenge is surely going to come from the horse you have on top, and that's Contomar.
Well, Contomar and Cousin Tino have something in common. They're both improving, and they're both going out for outfits that tend to do that with their horses. So I think they are the best 2. Just for me, it was very simple. I think the races the 6 is coming out of are stronger than the races the 7's coming out of, period. There's nothing else to say.
Yeah, it was a nice performance by him. He rated along the inside. He moved to the outside, and he finished a rallying 2nd. So when it's Antonio Sano, a leading rider, Edgar Zayas. So, we're talking exacta box here, at least in my estimation. We both used the number 2 horse in here, Bodai Dog, a good 3rd on the turf at this level and distance. Back in beginning of September, about the 10th, going back to the grass. He stalked the pace letters. He faded to finish 4th. It was a 25-mile in the 16th maiden test, but that was moved from the lawn to a sealed sloppy track. I just thought he was the best of the rest.
Yep, that's what I was just going to say. He is the best of the rest. The thing about Contomar's last race, the winner, Sir Sebastian, had it all his own way on the top end. The rail was out that day on the turf course, so that was favoring speed horses, and then Contomar just kind of up against it while racing 2nd. 6 and 7, the ones to beat in race 7, the start of the late pick 4.
Take it away.
All right, the 8th race of the afternoon. Claimers in for a $12,500 price tag. Key scratch here, a horse that I wanted to show you her last race. We're not going to do that now because she's not running. Number 2, India Tarahumara, withdrawn. So a field of 7. I think with the scratch of the 2, at least for me, the degree of difficulty goes up substantially. Our picks indicate that. We're not exactly on the same page.
Yeah, looking back, with the scratching here, the number 5 driving Miss B plummets to, after failing to handle 35 optional claimers. And couple of races on the turf. But if you go back to her maiden breaker at Gulfstream at 25 level, looks like she spotted greatly in here. But I'm going to try and beat that one today.
I was just going to say, what is this, role reversal? You're talking about my top picks? All right, I'll talk about yours then. How about that?
No, I saw that your top pick was there. I was going to explain why I did not use this horse. I wanted to set the stage for myself. I went with the 4 Scrap Mandate. This one is stepping up to face winners after making a strong move to defeat a pair of next out winners. That was a really nice 12-5 maiden race at the distance. Dave Brady, Tyler Gaffalione going for 2 in a row. Thought I'd get a little bit of a price in here with this horse at 6-1. You're getting Tyler Gaffalione. I wasn't stealing your thunder. I was trying to explain why I went to where I went.
Well, I can't say anything. Now you already talked about the 5 driving Mrs. B, taking that major class drop, draw a line through those last races. However, take note of one thing. The winner, Queen Devalle, won again yesterday to make it 5 in a row. Driving Mrs. B gets away from her. Listen, folks, all she has to do is run her race 3 back, where she's 4th, beaten by 7 by Lyrica. That race against this field, tactically and from a class standpoint, wins this race, I think.
Well, I won't say anything about the 3. Take it away.
Oh, what is that? No, I don't have much to say about the 3, Ronnie. Number 3, Kia made her debut on the main track and her debut at Gulfstream Park West, a winning one last time out. She beat a repeat winner in Fergie Licious. Fergie Licious was expected to win that day, but Kia beat her. She appears to be a horse that's on the improve, and that was the reason why she made part of my ticket. I was trying to find horses on the improve as opposed to some of the other horses who are either trying to hold their form or maybe on the downward side of their form.
Number 7, Tanya's Pride is making her first start since drawing away. She was 60 cents to the dollar that afternoon to defeat 12-5 maidens. She won that race impressively by 5 widening lengths. And I had a different strategy in here. You know, I went with horses that I thought ran really well last time out, seeing if they can repeat that. I didn't think there was any world beaters in here, and that's the reasoning for that.
There's not, and from a standpoint of buyers, I know I sit here and preach on that. I don't use them as gospel.
Right.
I use them as a range.
Right.
If you're looking at the range here, you're talking about 3 points from the horse that's going to be the longest shot in the race to the horse that's going to be favored. To me, that just means this is a really good betting race. I use the 1 Grandma Maria, who's back to reality after trying the My Dear Girl last time out. I think somebody fell asleep or put their horse in the wrong race condition book-wise. I don't know what that was about. She went off 102-1. She didn't even make the course. But in her career debut, she did win, and it was at a similar level that she'll face today.
Well, keeping with my theme, what about the number 8, Lalia, another facing winners after setting the pace, holding on as the favorite to defeat 25 maidens going 5.5. Want to show you a stat on Dane Kambisky. Over the last 5 years, with a winner last out, 2-year-olds on the dirt. These are good stats. 7 for 30. He's 23%, 43% in the money with a positive return of investment of $2.26. Never leave Dane Kambisky out of your plans when you see him doing something where the stats are good.
Now, granted, if you're playing the late pick 5 or the late pick 4, this advice means nothing. If you're playing the late pick 3, I would have advice. Watch the way this race is being bet before you make your wagers, about 3 or 4 minutes to post. Take the longest 4 horses in here and play them, because that's where the value will be.
We were all over the board on that one there. We usually with some degree of agreement, but not that race.
Yes, however, I would imagine that in the 9th race we're in total agreement, because to me this is a standout. I said earlier I didn't think there was a single in the Rainbow 6. Now that I remember this race, this is a single right here.
Golden Delicious? Yeah, this one is a restricted stakes winner at Gulfstream back in February. He's going back to the lawn. He returned from about a 6-month layoff to finish second at this track, and a race moved to a sloppy main track. Todd Pletcher, leading jock, Edgar Zeiss, $150,000 daughter of Harlan's Holiday. Certainly looks like the one to beat.
To me, she's much the best horse. She had to need that last race. That's why they left her in to run on the dirt. She's a better horse on the grass. Second start of the form cycle for high percentage connections. What's not to like here?
Well, what about the number 7? I know you use it on the bottom of your ticket. Kenitra is stretching out to a mile in the 16th. Has run at this distance twice, finished second. Rough outing last time out, going a mile. I want to go back and show you this horse. It's a Ralph Nix trainee. Nick Warris will be in the saddle. But I want to show you this horse going into the first turn. And this horse just got slammed here. You're going to see it coming up. And the rider that day was Tyler Gaffalione. And he almost gets knocked off the horse. You're going to see it in here. Was the number 5 that day. And you just see it, there you'll see it now. Just get boom and just gets knocked off. Bothered other horses in the race, in that race. But that particular particular thing. And this horse was running well till that performance just got knocked off stride, and I think that cost the horse the race.
She's 7 for 10 in the top 2. However, 6 of those 7 have been runner-up performances. I don't like her chances to win. I like her chances to hit the ticket.
Yeah, to hit the ticket, and thus you put her in 4th. Who else did you use? Number 6, Bull Empress.
Both like Bull Empress. I think she'll move up big time moving into the barn of Steve Clasera. She adds Lasix off being claimed for 16. I like the confidence to put her back in for 25. She's been freshened up since then. I think she is a major contender if Golden Delicious doesn't fire and you're looking for a horse at a nice price. This would be one to use for me.
Yeah, I mean, I got it on the ticket for all the reasons you mentioned. Anything else that you want to mention? What about 3 Vera's finally?
No, we'll just go to the next race. We're out of time already.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh, 10th race. Well, okay, 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Maiden claim is fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. He's making me rush. Scratch the 2. The 11 gets in. Take it away, Pete.
I don't like the 1, variety of colors. She's 9 for 15 in the top 3, but the problem is she's still a maiden, which means that those 9 performances have been 2nd or 3rd place runs. She is much the best horse on form. She's much the best horse on class. She's much the best horse on pretty much everything, except she has proven that she doesn't want to win per se.
Comes out of a really nice key race where 8 runners come back to run, and 3 of them won. So I'm going there. I mentioned that was my single, Miss BVI, in 2nd, and I'm using the number 6, Megatonian top. You went to the 10.
I went to the 10, Joyful Spirit. She went favored last time out on the main track. She gets back to the turf course here today. She has no turn of speed. She has no real turn of foot, but I think that given the options in here, if I'm trying to beat the 1, the 10's who I have to do it with. Jonathan Gonzalez will ride.
Well, we're out of time, as Pete told you, so we'll be back tomorrow, and we should have got double stakes action tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you need to go get lunch because you only have about 10 minutes before you have to preview the first race.
Good luck, everybody.
What do I love about horse racing?